game one, and we saw Jared Goff under pressure, and we know he doesn't always respond appropriately under pressure. So, again, there's a lot of question marks right now for Detroit that they can go a long way towards answering if they regain some of what we grew accustomed to seeing from them offensively over the last 3 years. If we don't get that, you're going to see people panicking. That's all I'm saying.
The big thing for Chicago, to me, is not whether or not it's 0-2, it's how it looks. Yeah. Right? If the Chicago Bears lose to the Detroit Lions and Caleb Williams plays well, this defense performs in high-pressure moments, and you just lose to a better team, you lose to a more experienced head coach, a more experienced quarterback, I think that's something you could be comfortable with if you're Ryan Poles and you're Ben Johnson because you feel like you're ascending. Also think that for the Detroit Lions, though, when I look at the panic within the building, I feel differently about that. Right? Like, I remember we went 0-4 in my last year in Pittsburgh, and we never panicked in the building. We got that outside of this building, the perception of us was a certain thing. And for us, it was like, let's tweak this because we've tweaked that before. We understand being in this position. Or let's figure out how we're going to move forward in this area or how this player can be better based on how we can help him because we've seen it over and over again. I think your point about Caleb Williams is true. It's because now it feels like every time he goes through adversity, it's the first time. We're talking about the number one quarterback in the country since he was in the 8th grade. Right. We're talking about a guy that replaced somebody that was supposed to be a future first rounder, won a Heisman as a sophomore. You're the number one overall draft pick. This is the true first football adversity he's gone through. And so how they keep him insulated from the outside noise, if it doesn't go well this week, is extremely important.
Yeah, I think with Detroit coming off of, having been there and knowing what that fan base is like and having the highs that they've had the past 2 seasons and we were so close, should have beat San Francisco 2 years ago, and then last year with the injuries, I just think if they fall to 0-2 and the offense looks like a shell of itself, and if the Jets offense looks good again, you're sitting there going, we blew our window, and now we got to restart another one. It's a massive game for both organizations, but it feels like massive for the Detroit organization and huge for Caleb Williams.
Love that.
Absolutely. We got to leave it there because there's major problems in New York. Could we see Big Blue make a quarterback switch by mid-game? Receiver, let's hear from the man himself. Malik, what were you really feeling on Sunday?
Everybody was talking about just how I was, how attitude and stuff like that. It's just, I got an NBF. I got a natural face. That's just what it is. It's my face. I don't know. Like, when y'all talk to me, I look the same way every time. I don't know. It's just how I am. But I guess I got a small one.
S.A., do you believe Neighbors there?
No, I don't. But it's nothing, no negative towards him. I can appreciate from afar what his position is. He knows he doesn't have a quarterback, at least one that's on the field with him. He knows that the offense stinks. He knows that they're not going to be any effective, and this season is not going to be any better than the last unless they get Jackson Dart up in there to have a chance. When you're a receiver and you're out there running routes and what have you, you playing on that football field, and you know there's slim to no chance whatsoever to be efficient or effective for them to get you the ball so you can do your thing. It's incredibly frustrating. Russell Wilson was, 17 to 37, 168 yards, 4.5 yards per attempt. Worst completion percentage in the game of at least 35 pass attempts over his entire career. We've seen this story before. We've seen it. And so if you're Neighbors and you look at the New York Giants, you just don't have a lot of hope right now. And I think that Brian Dable and ultimately GM Joe Shane, they're going to have to get Jackson Dart in there to have a chance to save their jobs. It's just that simple. You don't really have anything else to look forward to offensively if you're the New York Giants. Nobody would know that better than Neighbors. And that's why you saw that look on his face and the towel covering his face on the sidelines, in my opinion.
Dan, I know nobody watches as much film as you do, bro. How good was Malik Neighbors just individually this weekend?
Fantastic. He ran like 4 or 5 routes. You're like, I think my notes were like sick route.
Right.
Sick route.
And that's my point. And so when Malik Neighbors is frustrated, it's because he understands what he's doing based on what he's being asked to do. Like, he understands when he's created 5 yards of separation. He understands when he hesitates on Trey Amos and he has a step on him and he has to come back to the football and it's knocked away, and then Trey Amos is strapping up the seatbelt. He knows it ain't because you strapped me.
Right.
That is frustrating for a wide receiver. It's such a dependent position, and whether his face is a natural whatever face or we want to be upset with him for challenging Brian Daboll, he wants a team to be great. This is a dude that wants his individual efforts to equal wins. And when that's not happening, and when you are winning time and time again, when every pass that you do catch is some difficult 50-50 ball, even though you've created separation, that's tough for a wide receiver to deal with. Now, you want him to deal with it in a different way. You want him to have a conversation with Brian Daboll that not only, that probably was respectful, right? It is what happens on football fields, but that seems respectful outwardly, right? That seems like these are two men working together to win. But when it's heated and when it's hot and when the adrenaline is flowing, you want the best out of your team. And I feel like that's all Malik Nabers was trying to do. He wants to win football games.
No, I don't believe what Malik is saying, nor should any of us.
Yeah.
I also don't want him to tell the truth, because the truth throws the team and the quarterback under the bus. Okay, one, if it looks the same for the Giants this weekend, it will be a different starting quarterback at halftime. You have no choice if you're Brian Daboll. You have no choice.
You're starting Dart.
And I don't like it. Yeah, Jackson Dart will come out as the starting quarterback in the second half. I don't like it because I don't like the offensive line with him. But because of his athleticism, can you do some stuff to maybe help the offensive line? Can his athleticism mask some of the stuff off the offensive line? But in specific to Malik Nabers, I think he's one of those people that is wired in a wildly competitive way. I think that's his nature. I think that was his upbringing. I think that's part of where he went to school. He's got that rare competitiveness in him. I think the second thing is, and you and I would agree on this, I think he's crazy talented.
Yeah.
This young man could be in the conversation for best wide receiver in football. Do you know what wide receiver, since the start of last season, leads the NFL in incompletions thrown to him? Malik Nabers. He's got 96 incompletions thrown his way. The talent doesn't match that. And the last part is this. You're in second year. At some point, your performance is attached to your value. For a guy that's that talented and competes that hard, I would want the ball thrown my way more consistently as well, because that's going to mean the amount of money that goes in my pocket.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think you're watching that unfold in real time.
Which is why we cannot malign him for how he looked. How you act is an entirely different matter. If you have a look at this of disgust on your face because your unit is ineffective, your quarterback is inefficient, and on top of it all, y'all are losing, okay? There's nothing wrong with not looking happy. Why the hell should you look happy? What's he, George Foreman now? God rest his soul. Gonna cheese all day long? He's losing, and the offense stinks. And oh, by the way, your quarterback is a guy that has lost his last 6 starts, including the playoffs. And by the way, over that span, he's averaging 12.8 points. This is not good. And the bottom line is that if you're the New York Giants, I don't think it's going to be the second half of game 2, Dan. I think they're going to wait until week 3, which is what I predicted before the start of the season. But Jackson Dart has got to be up in there because Russell Wilson, no disrespect, he's just not the answer. He's just not. Well, period. And nobody knows that better than Nabers.
Yeah. The thing is this, if Jackson Dart is not the starter after week 2 and Russell Wilson doesn't play well, that means that Jackson Dart's timeline is not connected to Russell Wilson's play. That means Jackson Dart's timeline is his own timeline. That means that they made a decision. We are going to look to go to Jackson Dart at this point of the season, no matter what's happening,
Well,
because they
do that?
Because sometimes the plan is what's best for the player to be able to progress and not be ruined and not be put in a position to fail over necessarily how do I keep my job as the head coach?
Yeah.
How do I get this team
Which
to
is where the
One more
offensive
question.
line
which is where the
comes
offense is.
Yeah.
One more question for both of y'all. How much is this about the New York Giants knowing that their offensive line has been compromised. And
that's
as a result of that, because the offensive line isn't good enough, that's a big reason why Jackson Dart isn't in there yet.
No,
What about that?
I don't think that's the big reason. I think you went out to get Russell Wilson because you wanted to give Jackson Dart time to develop, time to be ready. You wanted to feel comfortable putting him with that offensive line, with those sets of skilled players. And I want to tell this one Malik Neighbor story, and I've told it before. When Dan talks about him being wildly competitive, when he was in high school, I coached his 7-on-7 team. It's a big tournament. We're down at Tad Gormley in New Orleans, and we're playing a team, and sometimes that 7-on-7 gets heated. He catches a football, guy elbows him in the face, splits his lip. He comes to the sideline. I say, Malik, we got to get you to the hospital. Like, I think you need stitches. He said, Coach, put me back in, throw me one more fade ball, and then you can take me out.
Did he catch
We put him in, we throw him the fade ball. He goes on top of the kid's head. He drops the football. Then he stands to him face to face, and he's like, now we can finish whatever you wanted to do. That's who this dude is. He's built differently. He works differently. He wants differently. The way he reacted is just a symbolism, or is just a part of what he wants to do as it pertains to winning. He didn't go talk to Russell Wilson. He didn't fuss at any of his teammates. He went to the leader of the team and said, we have to be better. That's a dude I always want to play with. And in my opinion, the New York Giants got them one.
Speaking of New York and much more serious news, today, of course, is the 11th of September, the 24th anniversary of a day that changed us all forever and must never be forgotten.